in the last topic we had done one question wrong. There's a slight error in that question. That is question number 6. An aqueous solution of non-volatile solute boils at 100.1 degrees Celsius. What temperature will the solution freeze? And Kb and Kf for both is given. Okay. So the formula which we used in that question was Tb upon Tf, that is equal to Kb upon Kf. Please rectify, it is not Tb, but we have to take over here delta Tb. Delta Tb upon delta Tf, that is equal to Kb upon Kf. Okay. Now over here, the boiling point is given as 100.17 degrees. So delta Tb will become 0.17. In that question we had written 300.17. We don't have to write that. We have to take delta Tb. So it is an aqueous solution. Therefore the boiling point of water is taken to be 100. Right? So 100.17 minus 100 will give us delta Tb, that which is 0.17 divided by delta Tf, that is equal to Kb given to us in the question is 0.512. Okay, 0.512 and Kf is given as 1.86. 1.86, so delta Tf will become 1.86 into 0.17 divided by 0.512, that is equal to delta Tf. Right? Now because we are taking over here delta Tf, we need not convert it into Kelvin. Because it is a change in temperature, na? So we can take it in degrees Celsius only. So delta Tf from here, that is going to come to 0.62. Okay, and they have asked to us the freezing point of the solution. After this, delta Tf, that is equal to Tf, freezing point of the solution will be Tf naught minus Tf. Okay, let's say Tf naught, that is equal to 0 degrees and delta Tf is 0.62 minus Tf. So Tf, that becomes equal to 0.62 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this was the error in that question. Please rectify. This is question number 6 in the last lecture, the lecture which we did yesterday. Okay, alright, so today we go on to our next topic, which is osmosis and osmotic pressure. This is our next topic today, osmosis and osmotic pressure. Osmosis and osmotic pressure. What do we understand by the term osmosis? Biological students, they are very well aware of this term. So osmosis means what? Osmosis means the traveling or movement of solvent particles from their higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Okay? Through a semi-permeable membrane, that is what is osmosis. The scientist who first observed this process, his name was Ebnollet. He was a scientist who told us about osmosis. Why did he name it osmosis? Because the word osmos means push. So over here, the solvent particles, they are given a push towards their lower concentration from its higher concentration, that is the concentration of the solvent, okay, to its lower concentration. So osmos means push over here, and Ebbe Noren was the scientist who first discovered it. Now basically it is, we can say that osmosis is a spontaneous flow. Spontaneous flow means that the flow of the solvent takes place within itself without giving any external pressure to it or without giving any external push to it. It is a spontaneous process which is occurring on its own. Okay, now to explain the process of osmosis, what we can do is we can take any container. Let's say we have taken this container and we have a partition of a semi-permeable membrane over here. Okay, this semi-permeable membrane is also known as parchment membrane, selectively permeable membrane. Okay, and in one compartment we are taking a salt solution. In the other compartment we are taking only water. So according to osmosis, the flow of water is going to be towards the salt solution and the level in this case that is going to rise. Okay? So the level in the salt solution that is going to rise. Another experiment which we can do over here is we take 2 eggs, right, and we dissolve it in HCl. Dissolve in HCl. When we dissolve the eggs in HCl, the hard shell that comes out, right? And the membrane which is inside, that is a semi-permeable membrane. One egg we are going to keep in salt solution and the other egg we are going to keep in distilled water. Now we know that the concentration over here in the salt solution is more outside, as a result of which the size of the egg that shrinks. Right? Why? Because water will flow from the egg towards outside as the concentration of the salt that is more outside. Right? So in this case we say that the size of the egg that is going to shrink. Whereas when we are taking over here in distilled water, the egg swells up. Why does the egg swell up over here? Because the water will start moving inside the egg due to higher concentration inside, higher concentration of the solute particles. Okay? There are many day-to-day examples of osmosis which we come across. For example, we soak pulses at night, जैसे राजमा है या आप कह रहे हो किशमिश है, हम लोग या बादाम है, आमंड्स है, उनको हम लोग रात को सोक करते हैं और फिर मॉर्निंग में हम देखते हैं कि वो स्वेल अप हो जाते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि पानी जो है वो उसके अंदर चला जाएगा. Water that is going to flow inside. Okay, so this is what osmosis process is. इवन जब मैंगो पिकल बनाना होता है तो मैंगो पिकल को हम पहले जो मैंगो काटते हैं रॉ मैंगोस उसको हम सॉल्ट के साथ रब करते हैं. ठीक है? When we rub it with salt, then what is going to happen? It is going to extract all the water from the mangoes, and when you put the pickle, because of no moisture, it does not get what will you say? It does not get spoiled. ठीक है? So that is another example which we have of osmosis. Then from osmosis we get another term which is known as osmotic pressure. Let's understand what is osmotic pressure. Okay, so when we are doing osmotic pressure, to understand this, let's take one beaker which has distilled water. Right? And we invert a thistle funnel in it. This is a thistle funnel. right? And we block or we tie a parchment membrane on the opening of the thistle funnel, right? Inside the thistle funnel, we are taking sugar solution. So, in the thistle funnel, what are we taking? We are taking sugar solution, and here we are taking water, distilled water. What will happen due to osmosis? Water will start entering inside the thistle funnel, and the level of the solution inside the thistle funnel that keeps on increasing. Okay, so let it lay for a few days. After a few days, what do we see? That the level that becomes stationary. That means no more water is entering inside the thistle funnel. Over here, the level becomes stationary. That means that an equilibrium has been developed. The amount of water which is going inside is also coming outside. So at this particular point, we say that an equilibrium has been developed. Okay. Now when equilibrium is developed over here, inside this neck, this solution that is going to exert pressure. Because that pressure is exerted due to hydrostatic pressure or due to water, therefore the pressure exerted over here, that is known as what? It is known as hydrostatic pressure. What is this hydrostatic pressure doing? Hydrostatic pressure does not allow any more solvent to flow in the thistle funnel. Okay, so we are saying that hydrostatic pressure puts a stop to the process of osmosis. And this hydrostatic pressure which is developed, this is known as what? It is known as osmotic pressure. So we say that osmotic pressure is equivalent to hydrostatic pressure, right? So osmotic pressure को define कैसे करेंगे? It is that pressure developed during the process of osmosis at equilibrium point which stops osmosis. So this is what osmotic pressure is, right? It is the pressure developed at the equilibrium point which stops the process of osmosis. That is what osmotic pressure is. Clear? So basically what are we saying over here? We are representing osmotic pressure by pi, and we are saying that it is equal to hydrostatic pressure. Mathematically, hydrostatic pressure is given by HdG, where H that is equal to height of the level. Like for example, if this is the level to what which water has gone, so H is going to be equal to this height. Okay, so H is equal to height of the level. B over here, that is equal to density, right? And G which is present over here, that is equal to acceleration due to gravity. So if in the question it is given to you that the height is this, density is this and gravity is this, calculate osmotic osmotic pressure. So it's a very simple phenomenon or the process, or you can say expression which you have to use over here. Pi is equal to HdG. Right? Now while deriving an expression of pi, we have another expression. There is another expression, that is pi is equal to HdG, which we have just done. Another expression which we can use over here is pi is equal to CRT, where C is the concentration of the solution, which is given as number of moles of the solute dissolved per liter of the solution. R is the gas constant, and T is the temperature in Kelvin. Right? So let's put the value of C over here. What will we get? Pi, that is equal to NB upon VRT. Okay? And we know that number of moles, that is equal to WV upon MB into V into RT, that is pi. Okay, so with this expression, what can we calculate? We can calculate the molar mass of the solute. Is it clear? Okay, now the molar mass of the solute, we say that osmotic pressure is one of the best methods to calculate molar masses of proteins. That is, proteins, why we are saying over here? Because we are taking into consideration any high molecular mass solute. So proteins is kind of a polymer, it has very high molecular masses. So we say that osmotic pressure is one of the best methods to calculate the molar masses of proteins and other polymers. Why? Because of the following reasons. The first reason is that osmotic pressure can be calculated at room temperature. Rest, when we are talking of elevation in boiling point, that is also above room temperature, and when we are talking of depression in freezing point, that is below room temperature. So this osmosis can be calculated at room temperature. So it is one of the best methods for to calculate the masses of proteins. Okay, and secondly, in this case, we are taking molarity rather than molarity. So it is easier because we are taking the volume of the entire solution. Okay, so it becomes, the calculations becomes much easier in this case than in the other cases. Clear? Okay, then we have time and again what we are doing over here, we are talking of semi-permeable membrane. What is a semi-permeable membrane? Semi-permeable membrane is selectively which allows only solvent molecules to pass. Examples of semi-permeable membrane is parchment paper, okay, parchment paper, that is cellophane paper which we call, and also the pig's bladder or pig's skin, you can say, that is also selectively permeable membrane. All the cell membranes or all the animal membranes are not selectively permeable. Okay, so there are a few. Then we have also inorganic semi-permeable membranes which are made inside this thing, laboratory. An example which we can take over here is that of calcium phosphate. Calcium phosphate is one example, and another example which we have, that is copper ferrocyanide. This is one of the best semi-permeable membranes. Copper ferrocyanide, right? Now there were many theories which were given regarding this. Ki through a semi-permeable membrane, why only solvent particles are moving or passing? Why not the solute particles are moving, right? So there were a few theories. Like the first theory which was given was that the size of the solvent particle is very, very small. So this theory that is known as sieve theory. Sieve is what? छन्नी. ठीक है, जैसे चाय छन्नी होती है ना, तो sieve is a छन्नी through which you can strain tea. That is what a sieve is. So according to this, a semi-permeable membrane, that is a kind of a sieve through which when we are passing the solution, the solute particles, they are unable to move because the pore size of the semi-permeable membrane is very, very small. Okay, but this theory was not very satisfactory. So there was another theory given in which it was said that sometimes what happened that a film of certain solvents, that is also used as a semi-permeable membrane. For example, if we want to separate say water and salt, okay, so what we do is, if we want to separate water and salt, what we can do is that we can put a film of phenol, right? When we put a film of phenol, then water is soluble in phenol, therefore water will get attracted towards phenol, whereas the salt particles or the solute particles, they are left behind. So this was another theory given, but that was also not very successful. The most successful theory is, you can write down, that a solvent can pass through a semi-permeable membrane. Solvent can pass through a semi-permeable membrane because the vapor pressure of the pure solvent, because the vapor pressure of the pure solvent is higher than the vapor pressure of the solution. Is higher than the vapor pressure of the solution. So that is the reason why a solvent can pass through a semi-permeable membrane, because the vapor pressure of pure solvent, that is going to be more than the solution. Okay. Depending upon the osmotic pressures, we classify the solutions into the following types. The first type of solution is known as isotonic solutions. Isotonic solutions. Isotonic solutions is a set of solutions which have the same osmotic pressure. Okay? Which have the same osmotic pressure. So if the osmotic pressure of the first is pi 1 and the osmotic pressure of the second is pi 2, then both they are going to be equal. Clear? Or we can also say that pi 1 upon pi 2, that is equal to C1 upon C2, right? Where C1 is the concentration of the first, we know that concentration, that is equal to what? NB upon volume, okay? And C2 will be equal to what? Or you can keep N1 over here. These are the number of moles of the solute particles, just remember this. V, if the volume in both the cases is also same, then pi 1 upon pi 2, that becomes equal to N1 upon N2, only if the volume in both the cases is same. Okay? Or this becomes equal to W1 upon M1 into W2 upon M2. ठीक है? वैसे भी अगर number of moles same होते हैं, if the number of moles of two or more solutions is same, they have the same colligative properties. You have to remember this. This is a kind of question which comes in your competitions. That if the number of moles of solution is same, or number of moles of solute particles is same, then the colligative properties are also same. then the colligative properties is also same. Okay, now if we are taking into consideration two solutions which are isotonic with each other and we mix both the solutions, we have solution A and we have solution B, both have the same osmotic pressure, we are mixing those solutions. When we mix those solutions, what is going to be the resultant osmotic pressure? It will be same as that what we, remember we did the normality and molarity equations. So pi 1 V1 plus pi 2 V2, that is equal to pi 3 V1 plus V2. So if there are isotonic solutions and we mix together, then this is what we are going to get. Okay? And also you can say that this is the first case. Another case, the total osmotic pressure of two solutions, that is equal to pi 1 plus pi 2. Okay, so pi 1 you know what it is. Osmotic pressure of the first solution, pi 2 is the osmotic pressure of the second solution. Now in this case, we are going to, let's write it this side. What did we say? That if we have two solutions, then the total osmotic pressure, that is equal to pi 1 plus pi 2. Okay, so pi 1 over here, that can be represented as N1. That is the number of moles of the solute particles in the first solution into I1. I1, that is the Van 't Hoff factor that we will do in the next class. Okay. I1 is the Van 't Hoff factor upon V1 plus V2. Then pi 2, that is equal to N2 I2 RT upon V1 plus V2. Right? Where I1 and I2, they both are the Van 't Hoff factors. Right? Now from this you can, what can you take out as common? N1 I1 plus N2 I2 RT V1 plus V2. This can be taken as common outside. Right? So this is how you can calculate the total osmotic pressure if number of moles of the first and the Van 't Hoff factor is given to us and number of moles of the second and the Van 't Hoff factor of second is given to us. Okay. Now there is, we can say that there are many advantages of osmotic pressure in our day-to-day life. So we will just jot down a few points. You can write down. The osmotic pressure is required for many biological processes. Biological processes, for example, intravenous drip of saline water. Intravenous drip of saline water. In this 0.91% solution of solution of NaCl in water, which is isotonic with blood. Which is isotonic with blood, is given to the patient. So what will happen over here? In this case, because 0.91% solution of NaCl is isotonic with the blood, so by injecting this, the blood cells will neither shrink nor swell up. Okay, so this is what is generally used to give intravenous injections saline water is generally used. Okay, so as to compensate the process of osmosis. Clear? Okay, so this is all about osmosis. In the next section we are going to discuss a few questions. Okay, there's one thing left over here, which is reverse osmosis. What is reverse osmosis? As the word is itself suggesting that over here we are going to exert pressure from outside such that the process of osmosis is reversed. Right? This is also known as RO systems. The water which we drink these days, the RO water, that is reverse osmosis process only. An example which we can take over here is desalination of water. Desalination of water, right? Now in desalination of water, what do we do is, we take a container like this, in the center of which we place a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, there is one opening this side and there is other opening this side. Okay, over here we are taking distilled water or even simple water, and over here we are taking salty water which comes from the sea, right? Salt water which is coming from the sea. Now due to osmosis, what is going to happen, that distilled water will flow towards the salt water from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. But what we do is, we put a piston over here and apply pressure greater to osmotic pressure. ठीक है? So we are going to apply pressure greater to osmotic pressure, as a result of which the water starts flowing in the opposite direction. That is, the process of osmosis that is reversed. Water starts flowing from its lower concentration to its higher concentration. But the pressure which we are applying over here, that should always be greater than the osmotic pressure. Have you understood? So this is what reverse osmosis is. So let's do a few questions in the next section. Okay, let's do a few questions regarding osmotic pressure. The first one is, a solution is prepared by dissolving 1.08 grams of human serum albumin, a protein obtained from blood plasma, in 50 centimeter cube of aqueous solution. The solution has an osmotic pressure of 5.85 mm mercury at 298. What is the molar mass? Okay, so now let's put the formula directly over here. Pi, that is equal to NB RT upon B, okay, and NB is equal to WB RT upon B upon molar mass. The question is asking us to calculate the molar mass. So molar mass, that will become equal to WB RT upon pi B, right? Now over here in the question, WB given to us is 1.08. The value of R which will be taken, that will be 0.08 to 1 liter, because volume is given to us in liters. So 0.08 to 1. Okay. Why we have taken this? Because when we are looking at the osmotic pressure is given to us in mm. So we have to first convert osmotic pressure to atmosphere. Okay. तो कितना दिया है osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure हमें दिया है 5.85 mm. तो इसको atmosphere में convert करने के लिए we divided by 760. ठीक है? One atmosphere, that is equal to 760 mm, right? So in atmosphere, when we have to divide, this is what we have to do. right? So let's put the value of temperature also. Temperature given to us is 298 Kelvin upon the value of pi is 5.85 into 760, okay, and the volume given to us is 50 centimeter cube. So that also we have to convert it into liters. So liters में convert करने के लिए हम क्या करेंगे, मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे 1000 के साथ ऊपर, ठीक है. सो ये हमने इसको लीटर्स में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. जब हम ये वाली कैलकुलेशंस करते हैं तो इन दिस केस जो वैल्यू आता है मोलर मास का, बिकॉज इट इज अ प्रोटीन, तो वैल्यू बहुत ही ज्यादा आएगी. इट कम्स टू 68655 grams per mole. ठीक है. This is the first part of the question. Second part of the question क्या बोल रहा है? According to the second part, we have to calculate H. Now we know that pi is equal to HDG. ठीक है. The value of pi is how much? 5.85 upon 760. ओके, बट इसको हमको पास्कल्स में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा. तो पास्कल्स में अगर कन्वर्ट करेंगे तो 1 into 10 raised to power 5. ठीक है. सो वी हैव 5.85 upon 760 into 1.0 into 10 raised to power 5. That is equal to HDG. Okay. What is density? Density that is going to be equal to 1 gram per centimeter cube. So that will be equal to what? 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3. Right? So density given to us is 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3. And what is acceleration due to gravity? Acceleration due to gravity is 9.8. ठीक है? So G is equal to 9.8. Let's put the values over here. We have 5.85 upon 760 into 1 into 10 raised to power 5 is equal to H into 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3 into 9.8. So H will become equal to 5.85 into 9.8, that is equal to H. So when we are calculating this, H is coming to 7.95 into 10 raised to power 4 meters. And in centimeters, it will be 7.95 into 10 raised to power 6 centimeters. Okay? So this is how you can calculate H. Let's go on to question number 2. Question number 2. Question number 2 is calculate the osmotic pressure of 5% solution of cane sugar or sucrose. Right? So osmotic pressure we have to calculate. Alright, so let's say this thing formula is going to be pi is equal to WP upon MD into V into R into T. ठीक है. WP given to us, that is how much? It is given to us 5% solution, so 5 हो गया into the value of R which we can take over here is again 0.082. Temperature given to us in the question is 50 degrees Celsius. So you convert it into Kelvin. It will come to 288. Molar mass of sucrose is 342. Now 100 ml is given to you. उसको हमको liters में convert करना है. So we take 100 into 1000. So when you calculate pi from this, pi comes to 3.453 atmosphere. 3.453 atmosphere. Then let's go to question number 3. Question number 3 is what? The osmotic pressure of a solution containing 30 grams of a substance in 1 liter of solution at 20 degrees Celsius is 3.2 atmosphere. Calculate the value of S. S over here is R. It's not S. S over here is R only. Okay, the gas constant. The molecular mass of the solute is 228. So we simply put down the formula pi, that is equal to WB upon MB into R. R over here is S only, okay? Into T upon B. Osmotic pressure given to us in this question, that is how much? 3.2 atmosphere. So 3.2, that is equal to WB. WB given to us is how much? 30. Into R we have to calculate. Temperature given to us is how much? 20 degrees. So 20 plus 273, that is 293. Upon MD. Molar mass is also given, which is 228. And what is the volume of the solution? Volume of the solution is given as 1 liter. So you can just put 1 over here. R will be equal to what? 228 into 3.2 upon 30 into 293. That is equal to R, and the value of R comes to 0.083. The value of R is 0.083. हाँ? नहीं, लीटर में नहीं होता इसका. इसका आएगा लीटर एटमॉस्फेयर पर डिग्री पर मोल. This is the unit of R. Liter atmosphere per Kelvin per mole. Okay? Alright, then let's go to question number 4. Question number 4. Question number 4 क्या बोल रहा है? The osmotic pressure of a solution of an organic substance containing 18 grams in 1 liter of solution at 293 Kelvin is 2.414 into 10 raised to power 5 Newton per meter square. Find the molecular mass of the substance if S again please take it as R, is equal to 8.3 joules per Kelvin per mole. Okay, now in this case, what is going to be the osmotic pressure of the solution? We can again go to the same formula. Okay, but it is given in Newton meters. So there are a few conversions which we have to do over here. Let's say pi that is equal to WB upon MB into R into T upon B. ठीक है? Now pi that is given to us over here is how much? 2.414 into 10 raised to power 5. Pascals में दिया हुआ है 2.414 into 10 raised to power 5. That is equal to WB. WB given to us is 18 grams. So 18 into the value of R given to us is 8.3. So 8.3 into temperature given to us in the question is 293. 20 degrees Celsius दिया है ना? 293 Kelvin ही दिया हुआ है. So 293 Kelvin divided by MB we have to find over here. And volume of the solution given to us is how much? 1 liter. So here you have to convert 1 liter into meter cube because this is given to us in meters. Right? So into meter cube when we go, that will be 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3. So let's take MB over here. MB is equal to 18 into 8.3 into 293 upon 2.414 into 10 raised to power 5 into 1 into 10 raised to power minus 3. So when we calculate M from here, it is coming to 181.33. solution of cane sugar is isotonic with 0.877% solution of urea. Calculate the molecular mass of urea if the molecular mass of cane sugar that is equal to 342. Okay. Alright, so what is going to be the formula over here? We know that pi 1 is equal to pi 2 because the solution is isotonic. Okay. Pi 1 is equal to what? WB upon, write 1 only over here. This is solute. W1. Okay. Okay. That is equal to right? Now they have taken percentages. Percentage one is 5 grams and the other one is 0.877 grams. Rest R, P and B, they are common. So this can be cancelled out. So we are only left with W1 upon M1 that is equal to W2 upon M2. Okay? W1 given to us in the question is how much? 5%. So we have 5 divided by molar mass is 342. That is equal to W2. W2 is 0.877. Okay, 0.877 upon M2. So we can calculate M2 now. M2 that will become equal to 0.877 into 342 upon 5. Okay? That comes to 59.98 or approximately it comes to 60. So these are the type of questions which you will get.